The evening was in full swing at Le Chateau Luxe, an upscale restaurant known for its extravagant menu and celebrity clientele. Chandeliers sparkled like diamonds, soft violin music played in the background, and waiters glided through the room, balancing trays of gourmet dishes that cost more than some people made in a week. Among the elegant crowd was a homeless man named Samuel. With his scruffy beard, tattered clothes, and tired eyes, he was an instant target for judgment. As he stood near the entrance, nervously clutching a small wad of crumpled bills, he looked out of place. "Sir, I'm afraid you can't stand here," a snooty waiter, Greg, sneered, approaching him with a forced smile that barely hid his disgust. "This is a high-class establishment. If you're looking for donations, the shelter is down the street." Samuel's face turned red with embarrassment. "I'm not here to beg. I have money," he said, opening his hand to reveal a few crumpled bills and coins. "I just wanted to buy a meal." Greg chuckled, crossing his arms. "So, a single appetizer here costs more than what you have in your hand. We don't serve just anyone. Now, if you'd kindly leave before you embarrass yourself further." Just then, a deep voice cut through the condescending tone. "That's funny. I thought restaurants were in the business of serving food to paying customers." Heads turned. Sitting at a corner table, unnoticed until now, was Keanu Reeves. Dressed casually in a black jacket and jeans, the Hollywood icon had been watching everything unfold. His sharp gaze was fixed on Greg, his expression unreadable. Greg stammered, suddenly realizing who was addressing him. "And Mr. Reeves, I." Keanu stood up, walking toward Samuel. "You said you wanted a meal, right?" he asked kindly. Samuel nodded hesitantly. "Yes, sir. Just something warm to eat." Keanu smiled. "Then come sit with me. Dinner's on me." The entire restaurant gasped. Some guests whispered among themselves, and even the restaurant manager rushed out to see what was happening. "Sir, that's really not necessary," Greg tried to interject, suddenly flustered. "We were just about to." Keanu turned his attention to the waiter. "You know, I've eaten in a lot of places around the world. The best restaurants aren't the ones with the fanciest chandeliers or the most expensive wine. They are the ones where kindness is on the menu." Silence filled the room. The restaurant manager, realizing the gravity of the situation, stepped forward. "Mr. Reeves, we sincerely apologize for this misunderstanding. Of course, the gentleman is welcome here. We'd be honored to serve you both." Keanu looked at Samuel. "What do you say? Shall we have a feast?" Tears welled up in Samuel's eyes. He had never been treated with such kindness. "Thank you. I don't know what to say." "No need to say anything," Keanu said warmly. "Just enjoy." As they sat together, the entire restaurant watched in awe as Keanu Reeves dined with a homeless man, treating him with the same respect and warmth as he would any of his Hollywood colleagues. The moment went viral, reminding the world that true class isn't about wealth. It's about the way we treat others. As their meal arrived, Samuel hesitated before picking up his fork. "Mr. Reeves, why are you doing this for me? You don't even know me." Keanu smiled. "Call me Keanu. And everyone deserves kindness. Samuel, you shouldn't have to explain yourself to anyone just to get a warm meal." Samuel nodded slowly, still processing the generosity being shown to him. He took a bite of the steaming pasta dish in front of him, his eyes widening at the rich flavor. "This is incredible. I haven't had a meal this good in years." Keanu took a sip of his wine, his expression thoughtful. "Tell me your story. Samuel, how did you end up here?" Samuel sighed, setting his fork down. "I used to have a good life. A wife, a home, a job as a mechanic. But life doesn't always go as planned. My wife got sick, and we couldn't afford her medical bills. I spent everything trying to save her. After she passed, I just couldn't get back on my feet. I lost the house, the job, everything." Keanu listened intently, nodding. "I'm sorry for your loss. No one should have to go through that alone." "It's been hard," Samuel admitted. "Most people just see me as some dirty guy on the street. They don't know the life I had before." Keanu leaned back in his chair. "You know, I believe in second chances, and I believe in good people finding their way again." At that moment, the restaurant doors swung open again. A woman rushed in, her camera flashing. Keanu Reeves. Is it true? Are you really dining with a homeless man? Keanu sighed, knowing that once the media got involved, things could spiral. Samuel is my guest. We're having dinner, just like everyone else here. The reporter hesitated. But don't you think it's unusual? I mean, you're a world-famous actor. Here's a man who deserves respect, just like anyone else, Keanu interrupted firmly. Now, if you don't mind, we'd like to finish our meal in peace. The woman looked flustered, but she nodded, backing away. As the night continued, something incredible happened. Other diners, who had initially stared or whispered, began calling waiters over to quietly pay for Samuel's future meals at the restaurant. One man, a local business owner, approached their table. Samuel, I own a mechanic shop downtown. If you're looking for work, come by. I'd love to have someone with experience. Samuel's eyes welled up again. Are you serious? I don't know what to say. Say you'll show up Monday morning. The man chuckled. We could use someone like you. Keanu grinned. See? Second chances. As Samuel left the restaurant that night, his pockets weren't full, but his heart was. He had a new opportunity, and for the first time in years, hope. And as for Greg, the waiter who had turned him away, he learned a lesson he'd never forget, that true class isn't about wealth or status. It's about kindness. And when Keanu Reeves is watching, the world takes notice. The next morning, Samuel arrived at the mechanic shop as promised. He was nervous, hand shaking slightly as he walked inside. The owner, named Robert, greeted him with a warm smile. Glad you made it. Let's get you started. Samuel soon proved himself to be skilled and hardworking. The other mechanics quickly took a liking to him, offering him tips and helping him adjust. Over the weeks, Samuel's confidence grew. With his first paycheck, he rented a small apartment. It wasn't much, but it was his. He no longer had to sleep on the cold streets. Word of Keanu's generosity spread. Reporters continued trying to reach Samuel for interviews, but he politely declined. Keanu didn't do this for attention. He did it because he's a good man. That's all there is to say. Meanwhile, Greg, the waiter, was fired. The restaurant owner, embarrassed by the viral incident, made it clear that such treatment of customers would never be tolerated again. One day, as Samuel finished work, he looked up to see a familiar figure leaning against a motorcycle outside the shop. Keanu, thought I'd check in, Keanu said with a grin. How's the new job? Samuel smiled. Thanks to you, I have my life back. I'll never forget what you did for me. Keanu patted him on the shoulder. You did it yourself, my friend. I just gave you a little push. And with that, Keanu Reeves rode off into the sunset, having once again changed a life with a simple act of kindness.